Good evening. Jocelyn Briggs here with Boundless Pursuits Coaching and Training for episode 2 of Becoming, which is a series that I kicked off last week with my friend Jennifer Piper Kennedy. I'm bringing to you all a new guest this week to chat with. And the purpose of this series is because I have this mission this year to help as many women as possible achieve comfort and achieve a level of feeling safe in their own skin, safe being themselves. And so this series is about inspiring success in areas that maybe you have struggled with in the past. Here she is. She's just jumping on. And so the reason it's called Becoming is because it's always about achieving that next level of who you are, achieving comfort, and like I said, creating a space where you feel safe being yourself. There goes my light, and oh, there we go. It's like Nicole's upside down, and there goes my light.
I know. I never know which. Hold on. I'm trying to do the left.
Welcome, Nicole. I was just doing a little quick introduction of what the series is all about, which is becoming and achieving success in areas where maybe you haven't. The one thing that I've learned over the last couple of years is there are keys to success that successful people leave behind in their wake, right? And we can learn from them. And when we apply these subtle shifts in our behavior, in our belief, in who we become, we start to achieve things that we never thought were possible before. And so that's what this series is about. So this is my friend Nicole. She's a personal trainer as well. I'm going to have her introduce herself in a second, but we're going to talk about two things tonight, specifically two areas that I think have very high perceived failure rates. One is network marketing, which is the industry that we both work in. And second is weight loss and health goals. And the reason I wanted to talk about these specific goals tonight was two most common goals that people set are weight loss or health or get in shape, that kind of goal, and money related goals. And we actually have solutions for both within the industry that we're in. But I wanted to talk to Nicole about her experiences as a trainer with why some people succeed and many people struggle, and how you can implement some of these things yourself to get success this year that maybe in the past you've struggled with. So, hey, Nicole, why don't you start by just...
Thank you so much for having me.
No, honored. And Nicole probably doesn't know this, but she was a huge inspiration to me when I started in this industry, in the industry of network, started back in the industry of network marketing, but she was... I'll get to that later. So Nicole, start by just introducing yourself and kind of like a little bit about your background and who you are.
For sure. Thanks so much. So my name's Nicole Harris. I am from Kamloops, BC, Canada. So on the opposite side of Canada from Jocelyn. But it's been super cool getting to know you here just in this space and in what we do and online in the last few years. How long have you been doing this for now?
It'll be 4 years in February.
Oh, awesome. Okay, so not that you're about maybe less than a year after I started. So I got into this because I was a personal trainer, and this was never something I was looking for. I'll kind of backtrack to when I first came into this industry too. I wanted no part of it. My girlfriend was selling this box of skincare, and it was the skincare that I loved, and it was a sweet deal. And I'm like, I want that box. She's like, well, you have to do this to get that box. And I was like, well, can I just buy it and get the discount? And she's like, yep, totally. And then the beautiful lady that you interviewed last week showed up in my inbox and asked me a question, and off we went. It's something was never drawn towards this. I never expected, to continue. I mean, I'm now almost 6 years later, still doing this, and I love it. But I was a personal trainer for 8 years, and I got into that because, number one, I have a huge passion for health and fitness. I love helping women and motivating women and helping them to kind of achieve, how they feel their best. And so I got into that, partnered with the fact that I didn't want to go back to work after I had kids. I was determined to stay home and work from home with them. And so it just worked out really well for me. I was able to make my own hours, but then they started, having homework, and sports and all these things after school. And that's when everybody wants to train because, you know, it's after hours. So when this came to me, I was like, honestly, for the first little while, it was something on the shelf in my gym that I was, you know, recommending if somebody had a, you know, need for skincare or whatever. But it quickly became a solution to the problem that I had, which was wanting to scale back in hours and focus on my kids. So this partnered with it so well. In this particular company, I don't know if I'm getting ahead of you, Jocelyn, if you were wanting me to kind of pause there, but yeah.
Well, backtrack and
Mhm.
tell us a little bit about your background. So you said
Yeah.
you said you were training for 8 years, your personal training, and you got into that because you wanted to be able to essentially work for yourself and create an income from home while you were staying home with your kids, which is very much why I got into it as well. And and encountered the same struggles, that it worked really well when they were little and you're home like all the time, and then all of a sudden they're not home anymore, and now you're needed to be out of the home with them, and all of a sudden personal training hours didn't work for me anymore. And so backtrack to, so you said that you got introduced to the industry, and I think a lot of people come into network marketing industry based on a kit, right? Like they're like, hey, I can get my products that I love. The one thing that I think most people will agree upon with network marketing is the products are always amazing. Like there's no network marketing company that I know of that doesn't sell really good products. Like the products is where I think all of the like the company investment and research and everything goes into. So you always get a good product, but I think the attraction for a lot of people that get into network marketing is like you said, like it's, I can get my products cheaper. Do I have to sell? No, you don't. You can just buy your products at a discount. And that's actually one of the fundamental things that is wrong with the industry that our company has gotten away from, which I won't get into all that. But so you came into the industry like a lot of people do to get your products that you loved cheaper. But that was with a different company, correct?
Yes, it was with a different company. And I just loved the box. It had all my 5 faves in it. And I was like, I need that.
Yeah.
And
And I want it, and I want to buy it at a discount. And then
exactly.
My understanding is that company closed.
Yes, it did.
And so what brought you to this company? Because our company doesn't work like that, right? So what when that company closed, or how long were you with that company? Like how long did you sold those products from your garage as a personal trainer, like the first company? Yeah. And you were with them for how long?
Just shy of a year and a half.
Okay.
So not long.
Yeah. Okay. And then when they closed, was your first plan to continue in the industry, or were you like, okay, there goes that, and I'm back to, okay. And so what, I should check my questions because I'm just battling it. Like what kept you in the industry, or what brought you to this company that you're with today, the company that we're both actually with?
Yeah. So the only real thing I was sad about, like I was like sad that my favorite skincare was no longer. I was sad. The big thing for me was I was going to miss the amazing community of women that I'd gotten to know. And when it came to me, when she came to me with this company, I was a little skeptical at first, but funny enough, I was already looking for collagen. That's our main product that we have here. And it just kind of, I started reading about the science behind it and the fact that it wasn't just powdered collagen that you threw in a shake. It was actually collagen, hyaluronic acid, chondroitin sulfate, so many of the things that we really do need to replenish in our body. And I had several clients that were struggling. Like I have one beautiful lady that I still talk to today, even though I've moved on from that. Her name is, well, maybe I won't say her name, but she had horrible arthritis, and she was like a total go-getter, and all she wanted to do was train with us in boot camps. But when it came to impact and when it came to things like squats and lunges, she just couldn't. And so I was constantly trying to find solutions for her. And so I was already at my health food store. I'm like, what can I give her to help, or recommend for her just to try? Because I knew there were some things out there that could help. And another girlfriend of mine has a plate in her ankle. And so her mobility was like not good. And so I thought, you know what, I looked at this and I looked at the research and I looked at the clinicals and I looked at stories of other people that had had success with it. And so I gave it a try myself, and these ladies gave it a try, and what it's done for them, it's been unreal. It's been unreal. So that is really what happened, is I missed the people. But when she brought this to me, I was like, okay, let's take a deeper look.
It solves a lot of problems.
It does.
And I want to circle back to something that you said earlier, which was you got into training to help women feel better.
Yes.
Like how important do you think how we feel like from the inside out is to our outside results in terms of
it's everything. And I can backtrack even more for you. Like the reason I got into training in the first place was I had my second child and we were done. And he was about 14 months old and I felt sick and tired all the time. He didn't sleep. He was a horrible eater. So of course my focus is all on him, and everything about me was going out the window, and I was not well. My levels were off, like all these things were not good. And so finally I decided, okay, I've had enough. And I just found a program online, and it had a nutrition thing attached to it and it was free. And I was like, I need to try something. So this looks good. And off I went. And in 12 weeks, I completely transformed. I had that all in mentality. I went for it. I was done with how I felt. And people started asking me, like, what did you do? What are you using? So I kind of fell into coaching without even intentionally looking to do that, because I had friends, and then I'd go to Christmas parties or whatever, and people would ask what I was doing. So we ended up actually starting a Facebook group of all these women who thought, okay, let's do what Nicole's doing. We did it together, and I kind of led them through it because it's like a set, structured 12-week program, and off we went. And I fell in love with helping other people. And I realized that what we're putting into our bodies makes all the difference. Because when I had my kids, I was in my 20s. When we're in our 20s, right? Like our mentality of what we're eating, what we're drinking, and what we're doing to our body isn't the same as when we start to get into our 30s and into our 40s. So the things that we need change. And after we have kids, the things that we need change. And so for me, it was a huge learning process. And I learned a lot about, what we're putting in, the fuel that we're giving our body, and about supplementing, and how you can't, unless you're like superhuman, like it's so hard to get all the things that you need from your food. It's so hard. It's like next to impossible.
I don't even think it's boils down to us anymore. It's the fact that just our earth is depleted. Like our processing everything's over processed. Like we just can't even produce food the way that we did decades ago, right? Like the food just doesn't have the same nutrient content. And if you're watching right now, like type in the comments if you feel sick and tired, because I think that is such a chronic problem that people struggle with. You feel sick and tired. When you feel sick and tired, you don't feel like moving. And yet movement, would you agree? Like movement is the very thing that's going to break you out of being sick and tired. So were you active like prior to that time, like that you knew to go back to movement and activity to get yourself back? Or was that something you just kind of fell into and discovered, like, hey, my answers kind of lied in actual movement and physical activity? Like, because it's not, you didn't start it to lose weight per se, you started it to get out of a sick and tired rut. And you saw, like, as you kind of forged through that, like, I imagine your confidence came up, your energy levels came up, and then you started sharing that with other people and helped them, which is what we do as trainers, right? And I think, like, so many people, I would say that's a success nugget right there, is that the very thing that you don't want to do is often the thing that you need to do to break out of that rut. And when you're sick and tired, you need to take care of you. Like, you need to do something to move your body and get yourself going again, right? Which broke you out of that rut. And then the other thing I heard you say was just like community became really, really important to you again, because our output to the world, whether it's, our own health, or whether it's business, whether it's network marketing, our output comes from like what's happening inside, right?
So true.
So, okay, so you chose, I was going to ask what made you choose this company. And I hear you, because I felt the exact same way when I discovered it. And all I had to do was look at the struggles that my clients were having, like in this current world, and see that there were so many solutions for them within this company. What would you say, like, so you've worked in the industry for a long time, both network marketing and personal training, and you've seen that both have a relatively high, I'm going to say, quote unquote, failure rate
Oh, yeah.
Meaning most people who set a goal and either maybe don't achieve it, what would you say are some of like the key things that successful people do differently that the ones that aren't achieving their goals could maybe implement into their life this year?
Yeah, I would say it comes down to having a strong why. Um, just doing it. Like, you have to be consistent and show up no matter what it is. If it's your business, if it is your fitness and your health, you have to show up every single day. If you don't have the consistency to do that, that means that you're looking, honestly, I learned probably the hard way that you're looking at the wrong why, right? You need to figure out what it is in you that makes you feel that way, that you want to succeed, that you have that drive to do it, and you have to run with that. And you have to, no matter what, keep showing up for yourself. And it's hard work, right? You have to be willing to do the hard work. And I think
So
that's where
I would say in both areas, right? And in all
Mhm.
areas, the most common thing people say is like, I know what to do, I just can't get myself to do it. So they
Yep.
call it lack of motivation. But what is it really? Like, it's not really lack of motivation. It's not laziness. What is it that they're missing? So I hear you saying like they don't know why they're doing it. Like their why isn't bigger than the discomfort that the thing is, I guess. So knowing their why, what would you coach, either a client or a teammate that's having trouble with consistency? Like, what would you coach them? You said like you just got to make yourself do it. Like, what do you do in those moments when you're like, because I think what people think is the people that are doing it have this special secret like motivation that they have running through their veins, and it's not true. I don't want to do it almost every day.
Yeah.
But we do it anyway. So what is the difference that we've learned to make ourselves do those things?
I have learned the power of accountability is everything. So you may want something, but like you said, you lack the motivation to do it, or maybe you'll do it for like a couple of weeks and then you're like, oh, I don't want to do it today. And then that day rolls into 3. So accountability is everything. Coaching is everything, you guys. Like, if you can hire someone, again, like a trainer, or if you can, external coaching of something. Like, for me, that group that I started, that was our accountability. So all the ladies would see everyone coming in there and saying, I did this today. And they'd all cheer each other on, and they were super proud of each other. And it's like that in what we do too, Jocelyn, like in our industry, in our business, and our team especially, right? So you have those people cheering you on, showing up for you, you show up for them. Because sometimes, like, as human beings, we'll show up for other people before we show up for ourselves, right? So accountability is everything. Like Jocelyn and I, we love being accountability partners, right? We show up for each other and our teams. And so I think that's a huge factor for a lot of people.
Like, I feel like both areas of like failure or failure in general, but like weight loss, like, such a lonely, like it, because we feel like we have to do it alone. And I feel like I hear you saying like one of the keys is community and surrounding yourself with the right people, right? Like being around people who support you, your group, like your fitness group. Like I have a group like that too. And it's funny because my accountability was showing up for them. I'm a personal trainer, you guys, and I would not show up 3 times a week to work out if I didn't have the responsibility to show up for other people who aren't even paying me, right? But it's literally, that's how important accountability is. And if I'm a personal trainer and I won't do it, and like Nicole's accountability was that group, but then those women like leaned on each other, and then you create this. I feel like we have to succeed alone, and I think that successful people have figured out nobody succeeds alone. Like they just succeed with the right people, right? So like they say it's lonely at the top, but really it's just there's a smaller amount of people succeeding than the people that are letting each other off the hook, so to speak. So accountability, community, and the right people, don't go it alone, and knowing why you're doing it, like having a powerful reason or a powerful why. I say that's true for even for weight loss, right? Like if you don't know why you're losing weight, like why would you?
Well, it's so true. Like, if for a good example is like if you have a trip coming up, some people will focus on that trip, but then when the trip ends, so does the motivation, right? Yeah. So I think that refreshing that why and consistently revisiting it, like, your health matters, you guys. And I'm 41 now, and I realize more and more every single year that you don't necessarily have to be like super in shape, but just keeping your level of cardiovascular fitness up, putting healthy fuel into your body, it makes a massive difference to the way we age. Like I said, it didn't matter to me when I was in my 20s. I was like, whatever. But it quickly realized, like after I had kids and all my levels were shot, and I was like, what is wrong with me? I was sick and tired. I was sore and tired. What is happening here? And you realize that as you age a little bit, and if we can age, gracefully and well, you feel so much better. You keep up with your kids, you're a healthy grandparent down the road, right? Like all those things start to matter when you're looking for a why. Like, why not make that longevity, that quality of life part of that? For me, it was huge.
Quality of life, totally.
Mm-hmm.
So what would you say to somebody, because I'll tell you guys, she doesn't sound like it on here, but Nicole is a very shy, quiet, I don't want to say nervous, but she's not fearless by any stretch.
No.
But you show up fearlessly. So if you guys could know Nicole as like this shy, quiet, not conservative, I can't think of the right word, but you don't.
I'm introverted. If that helps, is that
yeah,
a good word?
like I'm introverted too. People don't really realize that, right? But yeah. What do you, when you have to do something, when you have to show up in a way that's a little bit scary for you, or you set a goal that's big and it's intimidating to you, like what do you tell yourself? How do you get yourself to go for it? Because if somebody's watching right now and they're like, either they're considering, I would love to look at this industry, this business as something that maybe I'd like to implement in my life because money is my goal this year, or if they're watching thinking, I really want to set this health goal and I really want to succeed this year, but I'm scared, right? Fear gets in our way. What do you tell yourself?
I learned from a coach that making it about me was not serving anyone, let alone myself. I would be like, okay, people are looking at me. I can't show. I was so nervous. You saw me speak on stage one time. I was a hot mess.
No, you weren't. You were amazing. I would never have known if you hadn't told me. This is the thing. She shows up as this strong, fierce woman, but I know her personally. So I know that she has to overcome to show up that way. So how do you overcome? So you make it about other people.
I make it about other people, and how can I serve, and how can I offer value, and how can I inspire? That has gotten me through most of my fear of speaking. You guys, I was like a turtle. You'd ask me to speak and I'd be like, where can I hide? Like, it was horrible. And now, because I know that when I share, because I've been told, I'm helping, right? I would show up and I would do live workouts. I would show up and I would do these things, and it was helping people. So I just started.
Right? Sorry? Like selling is and no matter what in life, like here's the thing, like people, we are terrified of sales, but we have to sell our whole life. Like we have to sell our kids on doing their chores. We have to sell our husband on taking me to Disney World. Like we're constantly selling, you guys, but when we're selling from a place, like you said, where we're serving other people, we don't see it as sales. And so I've seen you grow in this and speaking too, like sharing. Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you.
No, it's fine. And my thoughts still get tangled. I'll go off on tangents, but I remember to dial myself back in and like showing up. Why am I here? Value, service, inspiration, helping other people. And that's what really gets me through all of it. And personal development is everything. Like whether you are in, like I said, coaching is huge, but whether you are in a fitness minded, like you're heading for that kind of a goal, or if you're in business, considering something like this, developing every single day, reading a book, plugging it in your ears when you go for a walk, right? I love Audible. I'm addicted to that. Podcasts, anything like that. Those people that pour into you, you don't have to pay for coaching. There's so much free coaching out there. It's insane. You just got to plug it in or read it. And it's been huge for me, that consistent daily and morning routine. That's a big one too.
Do you have a favorite podcast?
I really like Ed Milet right now.
Okay.
He's my fave. I love him.
Yeah, he's awesome. Okay, one last question.
Yeah.
What does wealth mean to you?
I think it again goes back to wealth. Freedom to be able to do what I want with my family. That is huge for me. But wealth coming in means you're helping others, because those who acquire wealth they have something to offer other people. People want it. So your service, your value, what you have to offer others. And I think it all just kind of boils down to that.
Love that. Like, love that. Yeah. And that's true. I've heard that before. Like, there's like wealth gives us the ability to help others, not just through our service, like our compensation. Like if we're earning wealth, it means we're serving more people, but we can also turn around with that wealth and help more people with that money, right? So
exactly. Yeah. All different kinds of service and value when it comes down to that, for sure.
Yeah. Love it. Thank you so much for sharing. Really appreciate you being on. Merry Christmas. And looking forward to 2022.
Me too. Merry Christmas to you too, my friend. Thanks so much for having me.
Bye.
Take care. Bye.